The Louisville Bats have a doubleheader tonight against the Galiette Braves in Georgia. But later this week, the Bats are back in Louisville for a big 8-game homestand, starting with the Pawtucket Red Sox. The Bats, meanwhile, might be the most exciting 21 and 22 team in the International League. A near-perfect game to start the season, several walk-off wins, and the fastest man in baseball. And joining me to talk some baseball is Greg Galiette, the longtime front office man for the Bats, who's now Senior VP for Marketing. Greg, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's been a pretty exciting season. I know the record doesn't show it, but man, these Bats are way more exciting than last year's version.
Coming off last year especially, we saw a lot of the guys that were with our club last year struggle. A lot of the young talent that the Reds thought were going to step right into the AAA level and just keep excelling like they had been at Single A and Double A. Unfortunately, they found AAA pitching to be a little bit tougher than they originally had thought. So we had a rough year last year, but this year, obviously coming into the 2013 season with Billy Hamilton coming up from AA, Tony Cingrani, another prize prospect coming up, we had some big expectations, and we've had our ups and downs. Obviously losing Cingrani after the first couple of starts to the Reds, who he's gone up there and just been stellar for a rookie pitcher. And we're blessed.
And on any other team would probably be there for the rest of the season. Exactly. If they're, if he weren't part of the Reds organization, which has a really deep starting.
What a great problem for the Reds to have.
Yeah, right. So you got Cingrani back. When are we going to see him on the mound?
I think you're going to see him Thursday night, and he's slated to hopefully go Thursday and then probably again next Tuesday. So we should see him 2 times in this upcoming 8-game homestand. And he was so dominant his first trip through on the first couple of games he was with us that we're hoping he can pick up right where he left off.
Yeah, of course, that near perfect game.
Yeah.
And then, but he was dominant in the majors while he was there. I think he's got 41 strikeouts in just 33 innings pitched against major league hitters. So how important is it for Louisville fans to go to the game and watch him pitch before he gets back there?
Well, I tell you what, we're very blessed. I mean, to have a guy of his caliber here, you get a pitching prospect like this maybe once every 10 years. And then to get a guy like Billy Hamilton at the same time in the same ball club, I mean, we're so blessed to have 2 young, exciting players here at the same time. But I think one of the main things that Cingrani will be working on now that he's back with us is to develop a second and third pitch. I was noticing the last couple outings with the Reds, he looked like he was relying a little bit too much on his fastball. Guys were starting to sit on that, wait for that pitch, and starting to hit him a little bit. So I think he'll have to develop a second and third pitch a little bit more effectively, have a little better command of a curveball and off-speed pitch. So that he won't have to rely so much on that fastball.
Yeah, there are only a few pitchers who can get away with that. Somebody like David Price, who used to be able to throw 98% fastballs and get people out, but that's so rare. Who do you kind of compare Cingrani to? You've seen a lot of players. What type of pitcher is he?
He reminds me a little bit of David Price. I mean, we saw Price come through a little bit with the Durham Bulls. He's got the same kind of command, especially of his fastball. I just love the way he holds himself as far as his posture and his poise on the mound. He seems beyond his years as far as poise and maturity, and seems to really know how to pitch, especially for a guy that basically was a relief pitcher in college. He's jumped quickly into being a starting pitcher. And as we were talking off air, he gives us a guy that throws the ball hard, which we on our current staff don't really have many hard-throwing guys in our rotation. So it'll give the opposing team a little bit different look from us.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, what about offensively? You referenced Billy Hamilton, the fastest man in baseball. He's got 22 steals to lead the International League right now. What have you seen from him so far this season?
Well, Billy is really, to me, he reminds me a lot of Joey Votto when he came through with the Bats a few years ago. Joey really struggled in April and May when he was with us, when his first taste of AAA hitting. And Billy seems to be very similar in that mold. He seems to now, I think the game is starting to slow down a little bit for him at this level. He's so used to, I think, when he was at Single A and Double A, when guys were behind on the count to him, they'd throw him fastballs. At this level, they're throwing him off-speed pitches, which he's not used to.
Right.
So he's having to adjust to that. His on-base percentage is obviously not where he wants it to be, but over the last, I'd say 10 to 14 home games, we're starting to see Billy get a little more comfortable. In this previous homestand that we just finished up a few weeks ago, he was very dominant on the base paths, caused a lot of havoc, and I think you'll see nothing but that as we go through the summer.
Well, and everybody knew he was going to do that, but the hitting, that was one area that he was going to work on.
The fielding's been a great surprise.
Well, yeah, because obviously learning center field.
Exactly.
So that's been, he threw a couple guys out. He really has been doing a great job.
And with his speed, he can make up for so many mistakes in the outfield. He can outrun a lot of balls, and what's amazed me is he's made a couple of spectacular catches running up into the left field wall. I mean, we were fearful that he was going to hurt himself, but he looks like he's played center field for the last 10 years out there. So that thing, as far as his switching from shortstop to center field, seems to have gone very smoothly.
But plus he's also kind of learning to be a switch hitter.
Exactly.
And I think he actually had his first 2 home runs in one game.
In one game.
He saved his power.
And I tell you what, neither one of them, they were cheap. He got a hold of both of them, and the guys were teasing him in the clubhouse the next day, calling him Babe Ruth, and saying that we should drop him into the 4 slot and let him be the big power hitter in the lineup. He takes it very well, and that's what's been so wonderful about Billy. He's a wonderful young man.
What about Felix Perez? How big of a surprise has that been for this young man to be among the league leaders, international league leaders in hitting? I think he's hitting .318.
Right.
He had a couple of big walk-off hits.
Huge walk-off hits, a couple of walk-off home runs at home already. And Felix is a guy that you really find yourself rooting for, a really nice young man, adapting to life here in the United States. And
Cuban, right?
He is, and his talent level, there seems to be no ceiling right now. He's just learning to really play the game the way the Reds want it played, and learning to play, especially defensively in the outfield, because obviously there could be a position opening in left field. You just never know. With Ryan Ludwig getting a little older in left field, coming back off a shoulder surgery here later in the summer, there's probably going to be an opening here down the road in the next couple of years in left field, so the Reds are going to be looking for possible prospects to fill that void. So Felix Perez could be that guy.
All right, well, this 8-game home stretch is a great chance to see the bats in action coming up these next 8 games. After that, any special?
Well, the neat thing is, really, out of the next 20 games, 16 of them are going to be home. So we have 8 at home, go on the road for 4, and we're right back home for another 8. We make the transition from going from May to June. We'll start going to 7:05 weeknight games. But we got a lot of great giveaways coming up, a lot of neat promotions. And for folks out there listening right now that'd like to learn more about everything that'll be going on at the ballpark, because there's so numerous I can't mention them all right now, just go to our website at batsbaseball.com. Not only will you get all the information you'd like about our promotions, but also gives you the ability to buy your tickets right online. Save yourself the trouble of driving downtown, going to the box office and buying tickets. Just buy them right there on our website, and basically you'll be bringing a sheet of paper with a barcode right to our turnstiles.
And see those future Major League stars before they're stars.
You're exactly right.
All right, Greg, thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.